This is lesson 50, and as promised, I was going to do a basic one for some of our newcomers who are not familiar with various kinds of brushes and things like that. It's just a little basic lesson I'm going to do for you, not a long one, but just introduce you to some of the brushes that's available. I'm not saying that you need all of them. All I'm saying is you have a look at them, make your choice, and see what you like and what you like and feel comfortable using. That's the best plan. So I'll just show you one or two and what they might do, and we'll take it from there and see how they go. Okay? Right. First of all, I want to show you is a brush I personally use quite a bit, and that is the 2-inch flat. That's that one. It's a beast. It is, and it's good for making washes and things like that across your paper and skies. Get them done quickly and that, and you can do wet into wet with it, and so quick. And while everything's wet, your brush is still there doing it. I mean, I've had this a few years, and in fact, I must get around to it's in two pieces. It's fell off its handle, but not to worry. It suits me. And I say, once you buy a brush, you try and get your best use out of it, don't you? Well, like Yorkshiremen do anyway. But that's that brush. That's just a big wash brush. I don't want to sort of bore you with all sorts of things, but I'll put that one out of the way. We'll get another one. And then there's also a range of these kind of brushes, what I want to show you on these. This what is it? Sort of a 3/4 inch flat. In Newman, that's 19 millimeters. And of course, this is good for smaller details, stuff like that. And if you wanted to, you can just use it, just flick it around and put square things on like that, and it works well that way. Fences and stuff like that. And then a bit smaller one than that, you can go down to the next size, which is a 1/2 inch flat, or I don't know how many millimeters it is. That's a 13 mil brush. These are all new ones, but we just put a bit of water on this and let's see what it might do with this. Just to show you what. If I had, I'm using this piece of paper. It's all right. It's a scrap piece I've got. But what it can do all sorts of this thing. It's good for, so you're making a bit of fence like that, and you know, if you're making your fence posts and stuff like that, and you can even put the tops on, stuff like that. A little rickety fence. That, I mean, just something like that, or anything that you need that's going to be square. You could put sort of a. You could put a slate roof on like that, you see. That's done. Dead easy. And if you want to denote which is where the sun's coming from, let's say the sun's coming from this side, well, this side will be in shade, won't it? So that side will just you can just put in like this. Use your brush. And then you've got the end of your building. And of course, this side you can do it with plants and stuff like that, but there's your house. Now that's fine for something like that. You can put the fence down to it. A bit of grass on the floor. Well, that's that kind of. That's another example of a flat brush. Nice little brush, but choose yourself what you like. That's 3 we've used. And then there's a smaller version of this as well. This is a 6 mil or a 1/4 inch brush. See, lovely, really delicate little thing. Let's see what we can do with this one. Put a bit of paint on it, and if you wanted to, you can just drop in a couple of windows there. Perhaps put a door in as well. You want to, you can put a door like this. And that's just using that brush for, and this side, as the fence goes further down, it gets smaller, doesn't it? So it's going behind there and it doesn't go like this, see. Flick it across like that. So that sort of thing you can do with these are the flat brushes. And of course you can make ships, masts with it and stuff like that, and just keep pushing it up. The longer the wider the flat, of course, the better the mast. But you can do it like that, or a telegraph pole. Put a bit of stuff on like that, something like that. Put one behind and put a chimney on there if you want. So that's the little flat brushes there. So we'll leave them alone now and see what else we've got. I say you don't need them all, but make a choice on what you think you like. And let's go to some round brushes now, shall we? And see how we go with them. So round brushes. This one here, I'll show you this one. This is a breath. Just lick the top. This is a Septa Gold. It's a number 20. This, and I've had 2 of these for years, and they will do. If you haven't got this flat one, you can use this for washes and all sorts. And gives you. I can do clouds. I can do small detail with it. It's just a good all-round brush. But it's a beast. It's a big thing, and you don't have to go that big to start with. Just get yourself the right sort of stuff. Let's have a look. See what we'll put something on with this. Let's say let's have a look. Some colour on here. And I wish I could show you the palette at the same time on this, but the camera don't give me much leeway. But let's say I wanted to. I can do a wash with it in the sky, but say for instance for this, I could just indicate some hillsides or something like that, you know, with it. Just get a bit of detail on that. Of course, you just put more water in there and thin it down a bit like that, and you can soften the marks. The light's from this side, isn't it? So that side will be darker. So what we'll do, get a bit more paint and darken this side. So that's the light side, because the sun's hitting that door, isn't it, up front, and it's in that. But the brushes, I say, what we're using, just do everything you need to do, and that'll take it. And that's a big brush. That's a number 20. But I can do detail with it. I can even do little bushes with it and stuff like that. That's well, they're really tiny, you know, tiny stuff like this sort of stuff. Just bushes and stuff like that. But just have a little mess about with them. See what you like. In fact, what to do if you can see some of your mates and that, and they've got a different brush than you. Have a try with it. See if you like it, and if you do, get someone to buy you one for Christmas. So you can do that sort of thing, and if you like, you can even darken the sides of that. We've said that the sun is from that side. I'm so darken that side of the bushes. You can even do it with a single look at that. So this is fine. This big brush, you can do sort of stuff like this as well. So don't think they're just ordinary wash brushes. They're not. So this is. I'm not trying to do a masterpiece. I'm just trying to show you some of the qualities of some of these brushes. So that's my number 20. That type of brush as well it's called a Septa Gold, and Septa Gold is made by Winsor Newton. It's a mixture of sable and synthetic. The sable gives you the water retention in the brush, and the synthetic gives you the spring in the end of the point. So I like that similar to the sable because it gives me both. Well, that's fine. That's what I like. So I'll put that to one side now. Let's go a bit smaller. This is a number 10. This is a number 10. This is a sable. This one. I haven't chosen. I've just picked one up at random. Let's see, and it'll do the same thing as that, but on a smaller scale. So you don't have to mess about. Let's see. This is similar sort of thing. It'll do just the same thing, only it'll get a little bit more precise, if you like. It'll do all this sort of stuff, you know, like these branches, all that sort of stuff. Twiddly bits like this, and it's big enough to do a wash. That number 10. So that's your number 10. Then you come down the trail. You come to a number. What number is this one? A number 6. This is a sable as well. As it happens, I've just picked it up. They're a bit long on the floppy bit here, you know, and I prefer the more springy ones. But we can get, let's see, a bit of colour, a bit more colour onto this. So it's just a round brush, but I can put in sort of some darks on here like this. And some crevices on this side as well. I'll put some darks in here and put a bit of a dark bit on here like this. You can do all sorts with it, you know. This you can flicky stuff like that. This flicky stuff. It's fine enough to do that. That's the number 6, that. So that'll do it, and put some darks in the bottom of that hedgerow there, if you like. Bit of darks on this side of the tree. So that's your number 6 brush. I say it's not going to be a long lesson, this, but I just want, the main thing I'm trying to do is for beginners, introduce them to some of the options of the brushes we've got. Right, what we've got now, let's have a look. I'm flicking through here some of the ones I've listed out. So that's the number 10. I think what's that? No, I know it. Let's have a look. That's the number 10. That. Or 14. That is the same beast as that one, only a smaller one. That's the syntheticness sable mix. The good brushes, but that will do what this will do on a smaller scale. I'm not going to look about doing that one. So let's get on to some of the smaller brushes. We've got a fine brush here, which is it's called a rigger. That is a rigger. Now this was, it's called a rigger, and it's a number 2 rigger. This one. It doesn't matter. There's a 3, 2, and a 1. The 1 is the thinnest, the 2 is the next, and the 3 is the more bristles on the end. So when you're going out to buy one or pick one, pick the one which you like and when it performs. So I say, if you can, borrow your mates and have a try with it before you buy. Let's show you what some of the stuff that this does. This is ideal for your fine work. You know, you can extend these branches further. And you can see how much finer the detail is on it. Just twiddle them along like that. You can decide what kind of, you can even, if you want to thicken this, the light from the right, isn't it? So it would be dark on this side of the tree, wouldn't it? So you can even put the dark in there, look. Get a bit more detail. Just a twiddle and just do another one in there, let's say like that. And your rigger is good for this stuff here. What I did with the thicker brush, you can get even finer detail on this. Look, this is grasses and things like that. It's ideal for that. By a sort of the rough grass or something like that, just a bit of twiddle on there. Ideal for that. Of course, it's ideal for putting a bird in the sky or something like that. You know, just all you do is just go up here. Let's say it's in land, this one, so it's a crow. This one. And of course, when you're doing a crow, that's a crow. That one. So that's a crow coming in. Now let's see if this was by the coast. Say it's a bit coasty. This one. Twiddles down there. Your seagull would be not like that. Your seagull is a flattened M. So you've got this, 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 and this. So there's difference. One's a V and one's an M. That's your crow. That's your seagull. I'm digressing a bit because I'm talking about brushes on this. So please forgive me. Right. So that's your rigger. There's also a brush which is it's a very small brush. It hasn't got the spring of a rigger, but when you're doing details, such fine detail, there's a tiny brush here. What number it is? It's a number 2, where you can put in some detail, like so the light's coming from the left, and so on this doorway here, we probably have a dark down there on the top, because it's set into the door frame, isn't it? You'd also get a bit of a dark on the underside of this here roofing, like that, and on that side of the chimney you get a dark, wouldn't you? This is a sort of an ideal brush for doing these sorts of things. And of course, in top of the window frames there, look in the window, you get that sort of thing. So your windows look as though they're set in instead of just balanced on top. If you like, you can put a windowsill in if you feel the urge. Put a step in. Put a step in as well. Some steps down there. How's that? That's your little brushes. So you can do all sorts with that. You know, whatever you want, any fine detail. You might think you want some smaller stuff down here like that. See, smaller grasses, and twiddle it down there. Twiddle this fence out. If you want to do it bigger like that, you can do that as well. It'll do the big ones, not small. So they're quite a lot of these are quite really good versatile brushes. You can do what you like. See, there's a big kind of that fence on. Do the top of that as well. So that's a nice round brush. Now here's one that pal of mine bought me. It's called what's it called? It's called a skyliner or something. Now it is a real delicate thing. There's hardly any bristles on it. There, look, very fine, and they're very long. But what if you want to do something wispy? It's ideal for that. Anything wispy, you know, like wispy grasses or something like that. And you just flick it up like this. Look. It gets a lovely. It's quite long and it gives you a lovely flicking action. Some across here like this. That lovely action it's got. If you've got reeds or something like that, you know, you can just twiddle on with the reeds and of course for rigging like the other one on the ships and that, you could get sort of a line up to some from down to here, up to there, something like that, up to the post. There's the telegraph pole, isn't it? I'll put another telegraph pole in down here, like this. Crossing it there. This brush is ideal for this sort of thing. Bring your wires across into the distance, somewhere like that. Of course, I want them down to this. They'll have a point on this here building. I'm getting carried away here. I'll put a little one down here with a connector on there. Of course, that's going to come down to here, isn't it, to feed that cottage. So this is the sort of thing that kind of brush does. Lovely for that. And he brought me this, and I thanked him several times for it. He didn't deserve that much because he's a Sheffield United fan, but that's another story. And I'm going to show you this one as well while we're at it. This one there, it's a raggy old thing, but it's called a mop brush. I think it's called a mop brush of it. But the main thing I want to tell you about it, it's got hairs on the top, and it's got like a ferrule there with well, let's have a look. What's it got? It's got a ferrule and it's got some spiral bands around it, wire bands on it, all together. Now this is one of the two brushes that I don't know if you've heard him, a really good artist called Edward Wesson. Well, Edward Wesson or Ted Wesson, he's dead now, but he was one of my heroes. What he painted was absolutely superb. Right, how I needed to enjoy it. It was lovely stuff, and you can try and emulate him, but his work looks so simple, but it's not. Believe me, don't be fooled. It's not. It's hard work. It's just too difficult. It really is. He's that good, but there again, we all have our styles, don't we? So whatever style, no matter what you do, by the way, folks, you might try and copy someone's style, but your own style will come out in the end of it. So you can try these styles, and this is the kind of brush you'd use, and say put a little. His work was sort of a bit loose. It was his work. I put sort of a bit of a stack or something here. Yeah, stack, yeah. Something like that. But that was the sort of kind of brush he'd use. A bit of shadow from there. You could do fine stuff with this end point of that. You could do fences, you could do all sorts with it, you know. Depends what you want. It depends what you like. But that's what I call a Ted Wesson brush. Lovely thing. I've got it in my bag, and I've squashed the end. That's the trouble. It's called squashy. So I start to straighten it out. And you can straighten these things out, by the way. Sometimes you might get a brush, by the way, that's called it hooks on the end. And what I mean by that is right on the end of the bristle. I don't know if I've got one here. I think that was. Might be. Right on the end for some reason, I don't know if you can see that, it hooks on the end. It's like a hook surface. Right on the point there, it's got a hook on it. I don't know if you can see the hook as it turns there. Look, there's the hook just there. And that is a nice brush, but if it hooks on the end, be careful, because you can be painting something and that hook comes into play, and it'll ruin the bit of painting you're doing. Now, what you can do with these brushes is get a pan of hot water or something, and then hold the brush into the not the whole brush, the bristle part into the water. Hold it there for a while till it gets nice and soft and flexible, and then with your fingers you take it out. Don't burn yourself. You just take your bristles and straighten them out on the end, and you'll find 9 out of 10 the hook will come out of it. I've left that separate over there because I'll do that to this one, and then you've got a good brush again. So don't think. I mean, I've known people who's cut the end off with some scissors. That don't work, believe me. So don't do that. So that's one way around it. You can do that. Now this. So look now what we got. Oh, here's another couple of brushes that you might find handy. This is called a fan brush. It's like a chimney sweep job, isn't it? This it's a fan brush. It's a new one. This I've never used it before. I don't use it often, but I'll use it and show you what you can do with it. Get a bit of paint on the brush. Let's see what we can do. In fact, what we could do is, you see this tree here, I could put on some this sort of stuff. I'll finish that tree off with a bit like twiggery. You can do that. Or another thing you can do with it is, I suppose, just dipping it in. It's always seems to flop about and that. But if you wanted to do some shrubbery, some grasses and that down the bottom, you see, I would dip in that. You can get some grasses. They're quite delicate as well, you know. So it works quite well. So I'm not knocking it. I'm just I don't use it much at all because I haven't felt the need for it. You know, so put some darks in the bottom of this as well. What we're doing, we're building up a picture. I didn't intend to, I tell you. But that is your fan brush, all right? I'll wipe the stuff out of it and lay it out flat, or it'll be fanless, I suppose. But that's what that is. That's a Septa Gold again. But if I'm honest, it's not my cup of tea. But each to his own. And what I also like to have with me, this one on here now that I'll put it on there, is a very old oil painting brush, because I had oils and everything. See, when you work for Winsor & Newton, you have to do everything, and I mean. One weekend you might be in the shopping precinct and it says, oh, you're working in oils today, so I have to take oil brushes and oils. Next week it might be acrylics, and I'm working on acrylics and that. Or next week it could be even pastel, working on pastels, so that's as well. So this is one of the oil brushes I've used. It's past its best. And I've always seemed to have gone back to watercolour. It's the most difficult medium, but it's the one that I like best. I get more pleasure from it. But like say, this is what's good is for lifting out and stuff like that. Just put some clean water on it, And let's say this bit here, I wanted to lift some of the liquid out, the paint out. If you rub hard enough, you can lift some colour out. You'll not get it back white, but at least you'll get some colour out of it if you wanted to put something else in there in front of it. So that's that kind of brush. I don't know what I can tell you next about brushes. I don't think there's a lot else. I mean, the brushes are brushes, and it's up to you to decide what manufacturer you want to use, what type of brush you can use. But just to recap on these, I started off with a big wash brush, the 2-inch. That's a Septa Gold, which has done me a lot of service. That was a good brush, and I like it. My favourite is the number 20. It's a Septa Gold, which is lovely, and does a lot of work. It does some of that fine work, and it does this clouds and skies and all sorts as well. That's good for that. You smaller ones are all good, all useful. That's the 10, the 8, and the 6. They all do a little job, whatever job you like, whatever size you're working. You might work twice the size of this on a painting, or you work half size of it. If you're working small, obviously, then big brushes are no good at all. I mean, I'll show you what I mean. I've got some. The paper I use, by the way, I'll tell you, it's called Saunders Waterford. And this is a little sample pack that they've sent me. I'll show you one. I'll take one out. But you could be painting that size, you see. So just now, when you're working this size, of course, this is no good at all, is it? Of course it isn't. That one's no good at all. It's too big. So you're going on to your smaller brushes then to get more flexibility out of it. So these are a bit about the size, and the smaller ones still, the really small ones, which you're going to use for detail. If I want to do a sky on this, these small brushes would do. I'll show you what I mean. Let's see. A touch of white here, white, and clean water, touch of sunshine in it. I'll put it up this corner. You can just not go a touch of blue sky in it. Same brush, just wash it out a bit. Might even put a bit of pink in the bottom of the sky. Then a bit of a dark cloud above. Threatening cloud on a small piece of paper. Just tug it about a bit. You can twirl the brush around a bit like that, you see. That might help you. Roll it. Some distant clouds. And as you get into the distance with these clouds, they go shallow like that because it's further away from you. But I'm messing about. And of course, if you wanted to put in a bit of a distant landscape, put a bit of blue in that. I'm telling you, next lesson I'm going to do, I'm do a lesson on colour mixing and stuff like that. and I've got some wonderful little tips for you as well. So we'll look forward to that one, the next one, which is it's shortcuts to things, because sometimes you see something, oh, I wonder what I colour the house for that. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It'll be as simple as that. So here's a bit of a landscape in front. We'll put a bit of, this is some green floating down here. Perhaps a bit of cornfield down here as well. The thing is, it's a little piece of paper that when I've finished this, I'm just going to throw it straight in the bin, because it's obviously no good. So the light's coming from up there, isn't it? So we'll have some darks down here as well, see? Bit of hedgerow down there. And so this number 8 brush will paint a picture like this, no trouble at all. You'll have to do your small stuff on it, your big stuff on it, or whatever. And of course, if you wanted to, and you wanted to fiddle, what you can do is just put that down, then get your rigger, your small rigger, just put a bit of paint on there. If you like, you put a bit of post up there like that. Some posts. And a picture is also better if you get one post to break the horizon line. Like that. That's going across the horizon line, and it immediately links the back with the front. And I can even put a twiddly touch of stuff like that down there, take it down there, like that. Anyway, I'm fiddling. I just wanted to show you horses for courses, different brushes with different size papers and things like that. So the flat brush, I've told you about the flat brush, haven't I? These flat brushes, all for different things. I think I can do. Yeah, that's that. I'll turn that over if I can. Show you what I mean with these flat brushes. There's all sorts you can do with them. It's only small, so you can do it if you like this. Don't know if you can see it. This is a bit small. What you can get is you do some brickwork. When you've got something like that, then if you get something like that, what you can do to make it look a bit more realistic, get your little thin rigger, and I can find it. There we go, that's it. And decide where the light's coming from. We'll say like on this little picture we've done, it's coming from the top left, isn't it? So you get shadows on these bricks, and you get them there, 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 there. That side of the brick, that side of the brick, that side of the brick, that side of the brick. And all of a sudden, your bricks start to look like three-dimensional, which is what we're trying to do. They don't just look like blobs of paint. Just for the sake of showing where the shadows are. And if you wanted to anchor it to the floor, you can even put put some grasses up round it. I'm fiddling now, but I'm just trying to show you what you can do, how easy it is to do it. So that's a bit of old brickwork coming out of the grass. Job done. All right. Right. Well, I think I've said enough about our brushes. See, I said the next time I think I'm going to do a lesson on useful colour mixing and stuff like that. And at the end of it, I'll put you a list of shortcuts for mixing colours for you. But for today, folks, this is our little short lesson. I hope you've enjoyed it, you beginners, and I'm sorry for your experienced ones. I know it's too much for you to. It's beyond. It's beyond your. Well, you've done it all before. But if you have enjoyed it, give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll do the next one very shortly on colour mixing and stuff like that. And that'll be a similar length photograph, and we'll do that. And do a bit of twiddling, perhaps a bit of paper and paint, and let's see what paints we can use and see what we do doing. Okay, folks. So until next time, it's goodbye. And if you have any comments, just drop them in the section below. Okay. Bye bye, folks. See you next time.